from Studio A in San Francisco, KRON-TV presents S.F.O. with Steve Jamison. Tonight, Steve's guests are theatrical producer Carol Shorenstein, the star of the hit musical Annie, Bridget Walsh, and actress-comedian Edie Adams reveals her new career.
Here is the star of our show, is Steve Jamison. Come on, everybody, get your hot dogs here. Hey, bowlers. Hey, hot dogs. Hey, get your bowlers, get your hot dogs here. Hey, hot dogs.
Wait a minute.
Get your hot dogs, get your bowlers here. Hey, hot dogs.
Buddy, come here a
Hey,
second.
hot dogs.
Come here a second. Do you mind? Do you mind my asking? What do you think you're doing?
What does it look like I'm doing? I'm selling hot dogs.
I appreciate that. We're trying to do a television show. We got an audience, television cameras.
Buddy, have a heart. There's a baseball strike going on. I need any crowd I can get. Business is terrible.
Business is terrible. Well, that must be bad. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
that's good.
Business is...
Last Sunday,
Yeah.
I found religion.
You found religion last
Yeah.
Sunday.
I went to church.
No.
I'm over at Our Lady of Perpetual Inflation out there.
No.
Sold $80 worth of hot dogs.
You sold hot dogs during Mass?
That's right.
I can't imagine that would be easy to do.
Oh, yeah, you just follow along behind the guy with the collection plate.
Oh, I see. I see.
cinch.
I see. Stay
Easy.
close to the change.
Sure.
I'm almost afraid to ask, where else have you been peddling your hot dogs?
Oh, I've been over to Marin County a couple of times out there.
They eat hot dogs in Marin?
Oh, you kidding? They love them by the dozen.
Really?
And the best part about it, I don't have to cook them.
You don't cook the hot dogs?
Just go over to the hot tubs, throw them in.
I understand. I imagine that could cause some problems. Listen, we do have a show to do.
Wait a minute,
and I would appreciate-
wait a minute.
Huh?
I got a little human interest story for you. You like human interest stories? Or they
Don't encourage him,
I
please.
love the human...
One interest, one
human interest
All right, what
story.
is it?
You heard of the Golden Gate Bridge?
Yeah, we've heard of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay, last Sunday I was coming back from selling hot dogs in Marin.
Yeah.
I stopped at the Golden Gate Bridge. I saved the man's life.
You saved someone's life on the Golden Gate Bridge?
That's right.
Did you talk them out of jumping?
Well, no, they jumped. But after eating one of these babies, they had so much gas he couldn't sink.
Would you get out of here? Would you get out of here? Go on. See, you hear about all of the problems. The baseball strike's on, you hear about the players and the fans. We don't think of the little guy. Vendors have got to make a living during this strike, too. How are you all tonight? Everybody in good shape? It's all right. It's all right. I want to bring out somebody right now who is currently starring in the hit musical Annie. Not only is he one of the co-stars, but he steals the show every night. Would you welcome one of the theater world's up-and-coming stars, Moose Berlani. Moose, come. Come here, Moose. Now, I don't know if you've seen Annie, but Moose is legit. What do you have something on the rug there? Moose has spotted one of the other animal acts that we've had on the show. Moose is one of the co-stars of Annie, and I would like to introduce right now the lady who has the interesting job every night of singing to Moose on stage. She's only 10 years old, and she's making a professional debut as Annie, of course, Little Orphan Annie. She won the title role at an open call with over 3,000 girls auditioning. Would you welcome the lady who sings to Moose every night, Bridget Walsh. Bridget? Well, now, I understand that you and Bridget work Bridget and Moose, I'm doing it with a dog, that you and Moose work real well together. I have to ask you, though, is there ever a time when Moose has any problems getting out on the mark or making a mess on the mark or anything?
Yeah, well, you know, everybody has their little mistakes and stuff. Well, if I make a mistake and go to the wrong place, it'll goof him up. So really, I have to really know where I'm going.
But Moose will walk out on stage, if you haven't seen the play, and hit a specific spot and stay there while you sing, and this happens during it. Has Moose ever had a call of nature, so to speak, during the show? Do you have to put out papers during any of your numbers?
Not since I've been here. I don't think so. No, not since I've heard it. No.
Well, now that was a well-trained dog. Now this is interesting. You've heard of rags to riches stories in show business. Moose has had one of the most interesting. He was about 2 days from being put to sleep at a dog pound, right? And the producers of the show spotted him and decided, this dog is going to be a star. And he's been starring with you since. You're 10 years old, right?
Yep, I am.
This is a big deal for you, co-starring with all the others at the Golden Gate Theater. What are you going to do with the money?
Put it away for college.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You travel with the show. You've been out how long?
3 months.
3 months, singing to a dog. What kind of dog is this?
Mutt.
A mutt. A mutt. Well, we're gonna let you take a break because in a second we're going to introduce one of the nation's top theater producers and also have you sing one of the great songs from Annie, one of the hit songs, and you'll see what a wonderful co-star Moose can be. And Bridget, we'll give you a break and be back a little bit later on. We'll be right back after this with Carol Shorenstein.
Coming up next, you meet the woman who brought theater back to San Francisco. Stay with us.
All right, we're back. You know, many of the big Broadway productions like Annie would never have been brought to San Francisco without my next guest. Carol Shorenstein is the youngest major theatrical producer in the country and is responsible for bringing the Bay Area such hit musicals as My Fair Lady with Rex Harrison, of course, Richard Burton and his sold-out production of Camelot, Angela Lansbury and the award-winning Sweeney Todd. All have made the theater scene in the Bay Area so much better because of a lady that many are calling the next David Merrick. Would you welcome Carol Shorenstein. Welcome to SFO.
Thank you.
Now, did I hear you had an offer for all of the hot dog
Oh,
vendors?
yes. I didn't realize all these people were out of work, so I think it'd be terrific, since the weather's so nice, for them to come to the Golden Gate or Curran Theater and sell hot dogs and beer before the theater, and everyone can eat outside.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Be
Not a bad deal.
fabulous. Peanuts at intermission. Be great.
I'll tell you, with the guy that we had, Jeremy Kramer, he'll be doing it during the show, up and down there. Get your hot dogs
Great.
during the song.
Terrific.
You know, I mentioned...
I've often thought of doing a show where you could, when they gave you your playbill, they give you tomatoes and rotten eggs, and you could throw them.
I think with the plays that you've been bringing in, people wouldn't have much opportunity to throw tomatoes because of the quality of the theater. But I mentioned you brought in Richard Burton and Angela Lansbury, Rex Harrison. You are so young, 31.
No, 32 and a half.
You're 32 and excuse me. Do you... Is there still a bit of awe when you work with these people?
Oh, absolutely.
Richard Burton?
I write fan letters. The day after the Tony Awards, I sent 42 fan letters with flowers to people. I love I mean, it's the magic, it's the glow. I mean, meeting Richard Burton, it's...
But it's a strange position to be in because you are, in a sense, his employer, and yet he's...
No, well, we work together.
Yeah.
There's no structure.
Yeah.
It's a very fluid thing, and it has to remain so. I mean, Richard Burton isn't doing it, obviously, because he needs the money. He's doing it because he wants to.
Yeah. Do the stars that you've brought in, I mentioned some of them, do they ever bring in, shall we say, specific demands that they want things in their dressing room or foods or, you know, the little eccentricities?
Well, there's never any demands. You see, before the performers come to San Francisco, I'm very well acquainted with them, and I know them, and we're friends, and so there's no demands.
Well,
we
maybe
bring
demands is the wrong word, but specifics. What are they?
Well, I mean, Richard Burton, it's true, is a chocoholic.
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 Used to drink, but doesn't anymore.
And he's very heavy into, so I supplied him with chocolate every day, truffles.
Really?
4 pounds of truffles. And
A day?
well, why not? You know, if you've got an addiction, just feed it. And
Angela or...
Angela and Alexis and Carol Channing were wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean, their demand, as it were, in their contract, they had to have, it was a clause, a very specific clause, they had to have fun. And they, yes.
There
they
a
had
clause
to,
in their contract to have fun?
And I lived up to it.
Oh, I see.
Yes. And they had to go to parties and have good times.
Really?
So we just always kicked up our heels. And
Well, you know, we had Angela
yes.
on the show.
Yes.
And she struck me as the kind of person that would like to socialize.
She's marvelous.
Do you find at your age, dealing with people of that caliber is a disadvantage? Do they think you're just a kid in the business or not?
Oh, no. I'm a veteran, really, so to speak.
I know
in
that.
this. I mean, I've been in it really for about 10 years. I worked in film, so most people think I just started out in theater. But, you know, and I've really been in it all my life. I mean, I went to the Curran as a kid and bought the second balcony seat and snuck down. You know, I love theater.
You, I know, have plans coming up for other productions. Are there any names that we should mention that are coming into town?
Well, let me put it this way. Everyone who won a Tony Award Sunday night, including Miss Bacall, who is starring in my production of Woman of the Year, she will be coming to San Francisco.
Really?
And
Terrific.
yeah.
Well, if you got some fans here that'll be at the theater.
Terrific.
Now, I mentioned we introduced Bridget a bit earlier with Bridget and Moose. We're going to hear one of the hit songs from Annie, which is currently at the Golden Gate Theater. Before I bring them out, is there anything we should do to set it up? What part of the play is this we're going to hear?
I don't know.
Well, you sit back and enjoy it then, because this is one of the song, of course, you'll recognize. I'd like you to welcome once again to sing one of the hits from Annie, Bridget and Moose. Here they are.
The sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say, oh, the sun'll come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick out my chin and grin and say, oh, the sun'll come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a
Bridget Walsh and Moose. Thank you. We'll be right back. Not too bad.
Coming up next, actress Edie Adams reveals her surprising new career. Stay with us.
I can't, we're just talking. Bridget is 10 years old. Unbelievable, isn't it? The voice she has and the presence. She came out during rehearsal, and you know, it's a lot of confusion, people walking around, and Moose was coming in and out eating dog biscuits, and she just stood there and went right through the song. It's incredible talent. And the dog isn't so bad either, as a matter of fact. Well, speaking of theater, my next guest is no stranger to the theater world. She is a truly versatile entertainer. As a dramatic actress or comedian, she has starred in such classics as The Apartment or It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. And for years, she was seducing us into smoking Muriel cigars. Now, she's taken on a surprising new career, actually 2 or 3 new careers, and she's going to tell a little more about it right now. Would you welcome Edie Adams? To dance.
They remember.
Oh, I think those ads were some of the most memorable of the last 10 years, your Muriel cigar ads.
Well, actually, that was a 20-year gig. It's the longest commercial deal in history.
Really? 20 years you were?
Yeah, it's been very good for me.
Yeah. Listen, before we talk about some of the other things you've been delving into, you saw Moose, the dog from Annie.
Yes. And
somebody told me you got your dog on a diet.
Oh, yes, cheapers. You really find out things, don't you?
Yeah.
No, I had a little Welsh Corgi that was delivered to me backstage in a hotel. And, of course, the chefs kept feeding him roast beef and whatever, and he thought that's what all dogs ate, roast beef and cottage cheese and all kinds of things. And I got him home off the road, and the doctor, he had a cough, and they said he's got an enlarged heart.
The dog does?
Yeah, so I had to put him on a diet. You know, they put this real cardboard food in the can. It's really awful.
What, you put your dog on the Pritikin diet? Is that what you're saying?
No, there is a prescription diet for dogs, and it's very serious.
Really?
Yeah, except that it really is pretty awful, and the dog wouldn't eat it. So they said, well, what do you do? They said, put a lot of garlic on. So I poured this garlic on, and he finally ate it, except you can smell him coming. The poor little guy, you know, oh, Sanford, please, later.
He doesn't have, the dog has no fleas, but he smells very bad from a distance.
It's true.
I said you're taking off into some new careers, and you won't believe this, but Edie Adams is a successful farmer in Southern California, right?
Right. Well, Middle California, San Joaquin Valley, in Kern County, in Bakersfield, a little town called Shafter.
Now, how did you get into the farming business?
I'm an almond farmer.
Almonds.
A nutter.
Oh, really? Is that what they call them? A nutter?
That's what they say. I'm going up to my nut farm, and people say, well, what?
Somehow, as once having been married to Ernie Kovacs, I think somewhere he must be smiling, thinking that you're in the nut business.
The nut business, and I love it. I really do.
Well, how did you get into agriculture? That's kind of a shift from entertainment, agriculture.
Well, actually, I was going to sell a house, and I found out that it would be better if I traded it, so it started as a kind of a tax thing.
Yeah.
And then I went up there, and I just love it. I'm going to move up there. I'm slowly moving everything up there.
But, I mean, do you know anything about agriculture or farming, or just hire people?
Oh, no. I have the best farm manager in the whole valley. But I started, when we first took over, the farm manager went out of business. And I said, well, what does it take to be the farm manager? And they said, well, you have to be here, you have to sign the checks and so forth. I said, you got it.
I see.
So I followed it through for a year. We went to UC Riverside, the farm manager and myself. We're also raising jojoba beans.
Jojoba, yeah.
You know, that's the jojoba.
That's the oil, isn't it?
No, it's a pretty good thing.
Oil, yeah?
Yeah, but I followed all the almond farming. I went to the huller. I went to the fellow that fixes the tractor. I just followed it completely through.
I still can't picture you on a tractor dressed like this.
Well, I always drive a truck up there, and those truckers are great. I got to tell you, you guys are terrific. They don't, but whenever I want to go a little faster, they go, okay, now. You know,
really?
Smokey and the Bandit time. You can go. You know.
I see.
Jackie Gleason is not around.
I mentioned that you were married to Ernie Kovacs, and I understand that you're going to be re-releasing some of the best of Ernie Kovacs, or repackaging?
Well, I keep getting requests from so many. For one thing that we're going to do is put together an educational film, because I get requests from colleges all over. I teach a course in video techniques, and could you just send me one of, a couple hundred of those we can't answer. So what I have in Beacons is...
Beacons is what?
Beacons is a storage place for film.
Oh, I see.
Keeps them
I
nice
got
and
you.
quiet. I forget. You're right. We have to talk. And after Ernie died, he owed the network a lot of money. So they were.
He owed the network money?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, that's how the networks work, if they can have it, if
well,
possible.
he figured that it was a show to have fun on, and he didn't bother about mundane things like money. That was just silly. He wanted to have a good show. So he just, he'd hire a 60-piece orchestra, and they'd stay for a couple of days, and then he'd have a party from Chasen's, and he said, I'm eating Chasen's, everybody eats Chasen's. And it was, consequently, we got some good shows.
And some good meals out of the deal, it sounds like. We're going to show something from your own personal collection of shows that Ernie Kovacs did. This is something I guarantee, I would say virtually no one has ever seen. It's 22 years old, and it's a kinescope of Ernie Kovacs way back then with Edie Adams. You're in it?
God. Oh, yes. I'm very pregnant. My daughter is going to be 22 this Saturday. That's how I know.
All right, let's take a look. This is a kinescope.
I had never met
Yes, I was right. I was absolutely right. You were in the nut business long before you started the almond.
Now, really understand.
We have a minute, but I also want to mention, besides the farming and repackaging the Ernie Kovacs material, you're also designing some high fashion wear.
High fashion wear, and it's now being sold through Neiman Marcus, which isn't here yet.
Not yet.
But I'm sold throughout the country. I don't put my name on it because I want it to sell by itself.
Okay.
It's Bonham, if you remember it, but that's mine.
All right. You design it yourself?
I design it. I went to designing school, and I used to make all my clothes.
Well, if you're looking for almonds, laughs, or high fashion wear, this lady's doing it all.
And
Edie
hello,
Adams.
Dolly, in Birmingham, Alabama.
That's
next
right.
week.
Edie Adams, thank you for joining us.
like to join Steve here in the studio, just give us a call at 561-8719 during regular business hours. That's 561-8719 for your free SFO tickets. Steve will be right back after this.